difficulty in moving around it. There seems to be no difficulty in moving around it.
The great thing about this Occupy movement is the fact that it is a wonderful model of a society devoid of violence, without state violence, without state coercion, and frankly, it's a great thing. The fact that we come to decisions through a consensus process, and that problems are solved without utilizing the heavy hand of the state. And I think, you know, we've proven it through the Occupy movement all across America, that, you know, the inherent goodness of people, that the fact that people want to help each other, it is a workable model of society. It's a wonderful experiment, and we've proven it.
What I'm protesting is the dishonest practices that got these big corporations to the point where they are now, and to this point where they have so much money, that they have so much power, and therefore they can outspeak and outvote you, me, and everybody that we know. That's when I protest. I'm not against economic success or a business doing really well and making $300,000 a year. That's fine. I'm against, you know, Bank of America, Verizon, Exxon, Boeing, Wells Fargo. There's about 30 Fortune 500 companies that paid not a dime in federal income taxes in the past 3 years. And in fact, they got refunds back, so they paid negative taxes. And there's something wrong with that. The fact that you paid more taxes than GE last year.
I think the Palm Desert City Council needs to take responsibility for the actions of their city. I think it's unfair for the Palm Desert City Council to put the police, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, in a position to enforce their silly city ordinances. You know, because of the Palm Desert City Council's inability and cowardice and to take action, to even make a stance, they're forcing the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and the city manager to take action that are frankly unconstitutional.
What happened on Wall Street? I think it was a disgusting display of an abuse of power, an abuse of executive power by the Mayor Bloomberg. He had no right to evict those people, not only by the First Amendment of the Constitution, but also by the ruling of judges. Current legislate lets them stay there, and for him to go against that, it's disgusting. It's wrong. We don't live in a dictatorship.
Here's a great thing that I'd like to point out. Okay, so CEO. I saw this chart, and it was a rate of pay from CEO to the average worker. So in Japan, it's 11 to 1. So for example, for every dollar that the average worker makes, the average CEO makes $11. In Germany, it's 14 to 1. And Germany's been doing great economically for decades. You know, they're really hardworking people. In Italy, it's 19 to 1. In Canada, it's 22 to 1. In Britain, it's 25 to 1. And in Mexico, it's 47 to 1. Now, ever since the 80s, or actually in the 80s, it was 35 to 1. It jumped up to about 89 to 1 in 1990, and since then, can you guess what it's at right now? 475 to 1. For every dollar that the average worker makes in America, a CEO makes 475. Now, that number in itself is just a little jawing to me. The fact that there's all these other countries out there that are doing okay or in similar standards to America, you could say. Yet we have this huge gap. We have this huge difference between the rich and the poor.
I think it is, again, disgusting that Mayor Bloomberg has sided with the 1%. Well, because he is that 1%. He's a banker and he's a corporatist who benefit from taxpayer money. And it is shameful that they've done so. Never mind the fact that there was a judge that posted that injunction, and the city and its police force, that are, by the way, now serving Wall Street instead of serving the 99%. are kicking out protesters from their rightful and constitutional peaceful assembly in Zuccotti Park. And you know what? It's kind of funny that in a lot of the corporate media news, for example, that we're saying, oh, you know, the occupiers are rioting. No, it's the police that are rioting in Zuccotti Park, and they're the ones that's destroying private property.
We'd like to thank each and every cop that swung a club, because for every club that gets swung, another protester comes into the street. The people united will never be defeated.
Exactly.
This corporate personhood needs to be regulated. I'm not saying banned either, because I see a lot of signs that say ban corporate personhood. And something that Glenn Greenwald brought up about that was that is kind of a misunderstanding, because if you were to ban corporate personhood, if you don't like corporations having these rights for the Bill of Rights and the Constitution backed by these rights, then that would exclude charity organizations, nonprofit organizations, and therefore the government at any time could just come in and seize all their things and, you know, raid their place, and that's not fair either. So it really needs to be a regulation on corporate personhood, a regulation on how much these corporations are really what they're really getting out of our system. You know, they're really milking it, they're really stretching it really thin.
Occupy Coachella Valley is amazing. We are growing by the day, and the fact is that we are so far along in our organization that we have now established a permanent office space at the swanky El Paseo Drive, in the middle of the where the 1% shop and eat and dine. And I think it's a testament of the strength out here. You know, Occupy Coachella Valley. This kind of movement is unprecedented in the Coachella Valley. The Coachella Valley has never seen anything like this before. And the thing is, though, we've only started. You know, we've only started, and once you know, there's 9 different cities in the region, and we've only focused on a couple of cities. And once we reach out to the East Valley, watch out. Occupy Coachella Valley is going to grow, and there's going to be a critical mass that's going to be achieved and reached. And once that happens, mobilization.
We're not going to stop. That's what I think a lot of cities, like city council and local city officials don't understand, is that we're not going to stop. This is my life now. This is somewhere where I finally have a voice. This is what I've been thinking for the past 10 years, and finally there's a place where I can go and express it. And there's finally a hope for me that I can do something about it. And I'm not just gonna drop that. I can't just let it go. And there's plenty of people. There's thousands of people like there out there that are just like me.
I think a lot of them who are part of that 99% don't think that this is isn't going anywhere. You know what? Social transformation takes time. It is difficult. And frankly, a lot of people who they think that they're part of there are some of the 99% that think they're part of the 1%. And it's a little bit silly. Just because you have that Bentley, it doesn't mean you're a part of the 1%. You're that 99% that's getting fucked over by this corrupt two-party establishment. So bear that in mind, that unless you are a corporatist, banker, or politician that's benefiting from the theft of the 99%, you're not the 1%. You're part of the 99% that's being disenfranchised, and 2, that's being milked by the 1%.
All people united will never be defeated. United will never be defeated. United will never be defeated. United will never be defeated.